to talk to you about the difference between mobility and flexibility and how those two things apply to strength. So mobility is about being able to move the muscles around a joint through a full active range of motion, whereas flexibility is about being able to hold the stretch in a specific position. Those two things matter because strength is about being able to apply force through a specific range of motion. So in terms of mobility, in order to be strong, you want to be able to move through a full range of motion. How are you going to get there? By mobilizing the joint. How are you going to do that? Through simple and effective movement. Flexibility is about being able to release tightness from your muscles. It's very important to want to be able to do that and to do that with control. So we stretch to be able to release tension. However, muscles are meant to move and joints are meant to move. So we can stretch our muscles as much as we want, but then they're only going through that pulled, stretched range of motion in the body. They never learn to be strong or fully strong because they never get to be contracted. When we mobilize and we do mobility exercises, we're moving through a full range. So you're getting the stretch as well as the contraction. So the next time you're going to work out, don't start the workout with stretching. Start the workout with mobility exercises. And lucky for you, we have a whole library of mobility exercises and a mobility guide that's going to be coming to you soon with all kinds of ideas around how to work through every single part of your body. So you're probably wondering what are some examples of mobility and stretching and how you might apply those to specific strength movements. And I'm happy to do that for you today. So we're going to talk about the hips, right? One of the things that we're spending a lot of time doing these days is sitting and just not moving our hips through a full range of motion. So I'm going to get on the floor and show you a quick and easy way to open up your hips. You're going to sit on the floor. You're going to get nice and wide. Let me show you at an angle. You're going to get nice and wide. You're going to put your hands behind you, lift your chest. And you're just going to take your legs and you're going to let them just drop to one side. So I'm taking one leg at the hip into external rotation, and I'm taking another leg at the hip into internal rotation. And I'm just going to move between internal and external rotation using my hands for assistance. If that's easy, you might find that you don't want to use your hands. This definitely is going to make it more challenging. It requires more core control. But notice I'm taking myself from internal to external rotation, getting my hip joint nice and warmed up. So if I wanted to stretch my hips, I might do something a little bit different. So obviously, lots of people know that they're hip flexors. We talk about hip flexor tightness all the time. I actually think some people talk about having hip flexor tightness and don't actually know what it means. But if you are a person who gets really crunched up in here, again, because you've been sitting all day, this might be a great exercise for you. Maybe sometimes you feel it inside your abs. After a workout, you might want to take yourself into a hip flexor stretch. So I'm on my knees, and I'm going to bring my foot forward. I'm at a nice 90-degree angle, and first thing I want to do is I'm going to tuck my hip and squeeze my glute. My glutes are extending my hip, so that allows my hip flexor to open up and loosen. If I want to add a little bit more to this, I can just take my arm on the long side and reach all the way up towards the ceiling. Breathing, staying tucked, staying squeezed. And if I want to add a little more to it, I can reach over. I'm still breathing. All right. Then I'm just gonna move and do the same thing on the opposite side. So again, I tuck and I squeeze. I initially get some stretch right here. For some people, this might be all you need to do. Again, if you want, you can reach and reach all the way over. One thing I want you to notice, I never did this. A lot of people will drive themselves. I'm just moving my pelvis out of position. I'm not getting an actual stretch here. So instead, I'm gonna stay tucked, squeeze the glute, and now I feel that all the way down through my hip flexor. So, why might I wanna do those? Well, again, we're sitting all day, but you're also probably squatting. So being able to squat requires external rotation, full flexion, full extension. So with the 90-90 that I did for you earlier, I was able to get the external and internal rotation needed, flossed my joint a little bit, and then with the stretch, after having done lots of those, I give my hip flexors a little bit of some breathe. So I hope you find that helpful. There's all kinds of things that we can do for mobility, for the hips, for the knees, for the ankles, the shoulders, and you can find all of those on our YouTube channel, and also stay tuned for our upcoming mobility guide.